This full moon day is the day Gautama, the Buddha, got enlightened. So he had never seen an old man in his life. What happened to that guy? Oh, he just died. One day he thought he will just take a drive in the middle of the night, like a thief. Then I said, right or left? 1800 different varieties of yoga. When he saw this, he was fully enlightened and the moon was shining. He opened his eyes, looked at them, smiled and said, a special Purnami or a special full moon day because it's called Buddha Purnami. This full moon day is the day Gautama, the Buddha, got enlightened. There are many aspects to his life. The most important aspect is that he is a Buddha. That's not his name. His name is Gautama Siddhartha, but he is a Buddha. Buddha means he transcended his intellect. Bu means buddhi, dha means dada. Buddhi means the intellect, dada means one who is above. One who is above his intellect is a Buddha. He tried many things in his life. He was a prince of a small princely state. Because some yogi predicted that this will either become a great emperor or become a great sage. When he made this prediction, the father got little excited. He did not want him to become a great sage, he wanted to become a great emperor. So he decided he will not expose him to… because he thought by being exposed to some suffering or misery, he may turn into a sage. So he kept him in utter pleasure, in the best of food, best of clothes, best of pleasures, everything. When he was 19 years of age, he got him married to a very pretty young woman, kept him in a palace secluded from the rest of the society where he lives in pleasure, never exposed to any kind of suffering. One day he thought he will just take a drive through the town. He asked his charioteer to take him across. So he was going and then he saw a man who was old, was going like this. So he had never seen an old man in his life. His father had protected him from all this. He said, what happened to him? So the charioteer, oh, he's just an old man. How does it happen? He asked. He said, everybody gets old someday. He looked at himself, he was a nice youth. What, me also? He said, yes, everybody gets old. They live long enough, they get old. This was a realization for him, I will become like this. Then he saw a man lying on the street who was ill with something, not able to get up, in great suffering. He said, stop, what is this guy? What's he doing? He said, oh, he's sick, unfortunately. What does that mean? He said, the body, sometimes it gets sick. It can happen to anybody, it can happen to just anybody. Me, a prince, it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. Then he said, oh, I can become like this. Then they were going further, he was completely disturbed by this. Then he saw a funeral. They were carrying a dead body of a man. What happened to that guy? Oh, he just died. What does that mean? That happens to everybody without exception. Then he said, what am I doing? Just eating, pleasures, nonsense, what am I doing with myself? And he struggled, he went into turmoil within himself. This suddenly being a prince and these pleasures and all this palace suddenly broke apart for him And he started looking, what is the point of all this? This is going to get old, this may get sick, for sure this will be dead. What am I investing my entire life in this? But by then he had an infant boy. He looked at his wife and his child, this loving wife and this lovely little baby. He could not leave. He struggled and struggled and struggled. By then, a little over 1.25 years passed. When the boy was 1.5 years of age, he could not hold it anymore. In the middle of the night, like a thief, without telling anybody, he slipped out of the palace and left for good. He went in search, I want to know the truth about this life. He went from school to school. These are times when different schools were established in India. At one point, there were over 1,800 schools. I'm saying not just institutions, 1,800 different ways of doing things, 1,800 different varieties of yoga. Not the kind that you're seeing in California, somebody doing like this, somebody doing like this, really intricate expressions. It is like how the medical science is becoming today. 25 years ago, you wanted a medical checkup, all you needed was your family doctor. Today, for every part of your body, there is a doctor. A few years ago, I had a knee injury. I was playing soccer and I broke something in the knee. And I was all packed up and I was speaking. That's how I got into golf, because of this knee injury. Somebody told me, gifted me a golf kit and said, Sadhguru, you're too old for any other game, you just play golf. So I was sitting there in Atlanta talking, speaking at a place. Then I was in pain, I couldn't even move. So when this is over, when I was speaking, one person raised his hand, I thought he wants a question. But then he said, Sadhguru, I would like to examine your knee after this is over, I'm a knee doctor. I said, come on, you're an orthopedic. He said, no, I'm a knee doctor. Then I said, right or left? Which one are you? So specialization is going. A time will come, probably in 50 years' time, if you want a medical checkup, you need 100 doctors to check you. By the time you get these 100 appointments, maybe you need an undertaker. Then it'll become ridiculous. Okay, you went to 3 doctors, all right. You went to 5 doctors, all right. If it becomes 50, 100 doctors for a medical checkup, it's become ridiculous, isn't it? This happened to yogic system. People started specializing and specializing in variety of small things. Each specialization has a whole thing by itself. Someone just came and told me they're a dentist, okay, I'm not speaking even of this thing. For example, dentistry, just 32 teeth, all right? They study for 9 years, 32 teeth. 9 years of study, still they don't know everything about it. That's the nature of creation. If you start studying one tooth at a time, you will see each one of them has something specific about it. Somebody can spend a lifetime of study just learning about one tooth. Just see if you had 32 dentists to look into your mouth. Disaster you are, isn't it? So as specialization happens, when it crosses a certain point, it'll become ridiculous. This happened to yoga. It crossed that point where 1,800 schools, different specializations of yoga happened. So that is when Patanjali came and kind of assimilated everything into Yoga Sutras to minimize this expanse that was growing endlessly. So when Gautama came, it was post-Patanjali, but still there were many things. So he went from school to school. He pursued 8 different forms of samadhi. We're talking about samadhi, okay? He pursued 8 different forms of samadhi. He saw all of them were wonderful experiences, but still it did not liberate him. So in this condition, he was walking as a samana. There's a certain system of practice called as samanas. Their fundamental practice is this: they will never ask for food. You should not go in pursuit of food because they want to beat the fundamental instinct of survival. No matter what, you're always going in pursuit of food, please understand this. You may complicate it in so many ways, but fundamentally, you're talking so much about economy means you're just thinking about survival all the time, isn't it? Survival glorified, but still it is survival. So one fundamental sadhana for them is, you never pursue your instinct of survival. You simply keep going. So samanas used to just walk, never asking for food. But the culture was sensitive. If they saw a spiritual person walking, people will cook at home and run behind him and serve him wherever he is, because they know he will not ask for food. Today, if you become a samana, you will walk yourself to death. Those days, people were sensitive to his sadhana and responded. So, there were thousands of samanas walking the country. So Gautama became a samana. And even if you are not asking for food, you will walk near a town. So the food will come. But Gautama took it too seriously and just walked. He became all bones. Just bones and a bag of skin, like that he became. Then he came to a place where there was a river called Niranjana. Unfortunately, that river is gone now, no more river. Just about 18 to 20 inches of water, maybe moving little rapidly. He stepped into it, halfway down into the river, he did not have the energy to cross. There was a tree branch, a dead branch, he just held on to it. He doesn't have the strength to take the next step, but he's not the kind of man to let go. He held on, we don't know for how long, people say for a very long time. Maybe it was 2 minutes. When you're feeling so weak, those 2 minutes might have looked like many years. Then as he hung on, he just realized, what is it that I'm striving for? What is it I'm wandering the entire country, growing from school to school, learning this, learning that, what is it that I'm looking for? Then he realized, there's really nothing. This life is on. All I have to do is just take away the barriers which are not allowing me to experience this. When he realized that everything is within him, there's nowhere to search, suddenly he had the energy to take the next step and the next step. He crossed the river, came and sat down under that now very famous Bodhi tree, which has become more famous than the Buddha himself. A part of the tree, a remnant or a progeny of the tree still exists in Bodh Gaya. And he sat under the tree. It was this full moon night which is coming now. He sat there and he sat there with this determination. Either I must see the ultimate nature of my existence now, or I will sit here and die. I will not open my eyes till I know this. Once he made that resolve, because the only problem is there is no resolve. Every 2 minutes, your intentions are changing. If you are totally on, to know what is within you, how long should it take? It should happen in a moment, isn't it? Because there's no distance to travel. Time is a quantity which is necessary only when there is a distance to travel, isn't it? If there is no distance to travel, if I ask you, how long does it take for you to sit here? You're already sitting. It's already there. It doesn't take any time. So you are already alive and on. It doesn't take any time for realization because you don't have to do anything particular. When he saw this, he was fully enlightened and the moon was shining. And he had not eaten for many months on end probably, years, actually 4 years he was a samana. And people around him, he had gathered about 5 disciples, I think. These guys thought he's real because he doesn't eat, he's really rigid. And they saw he's in some state, exuberant state, and they could see the light on his face. Then they were waiting for him to open his eyes and give the teaching. He opened his eyes, looked at them, smiled and said, "Cook something, let's eat." They were totally disappointed, they thought he's lost it. They walked with him for 4 to 8 years, when he had nothing but torture. When he got enlightened, they left him. Because they wanted to hear something severe. He said, "Cook something, let's eat. We've been wasting our time." There are many beautiful episodes in his life. We can make something wonderful happen. This same world can be turned into paradise if all of us go by a paradise plan, isn't it? Yes or no? The question is only, do that, because between a possibility and a reality, there is a distance. Or do we have the courage and the commitment to walk the distance? That's all it is. Yes?